Let's have a look at the top of the La Liga standings. As you can see, Real Madrid just out in front after Barcelona gave them some breathing space there for the lead after getting walloped, as Craig said, by Sevilla at the weekend. And we're going to talk about Real Madrid. And Craig, I definitely want to start with you on this one because it's about Jude Bellingham. This conversation that has slightly been floating around, especially now that we know that Thomas Tuchel has not called him up for this international break for England. So now that means that Xabi Alonso...
I think that's more to do with his lack of game time.
Yeah. But now that Xabi Alonso has this time to kind of work with him a bit, kind of around 2 weeks, so hopefully that does help. But when he does come back, where does he fit into this Real Madrid team?
Well, there's nobody else there for him to work with. So what I mean, most of those players will be away in international duty. I don't know.
Where he fits in?
If you ask me, well, where he fits in, his best position is the most forward of the midfield. That's where, when Kroos and whoever it was that was there, you know, Fede Valverde, when he had that magnificent 6 months, that's where his best position was. Now, he got shunted from pillar to post last year as they tried to find the balance with Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Junior. But if you're asking me, is Jude Bellingham a shoe-in the Real Madrid side, the answer is no. The answer is no. And if we're being honest about it, this is not down to his shoulder surgery in the summer. His form, he's been struggling for form. He hasn't been the only one at Real Madrid, but he's been struggling for form for quite some time, for club and country. So I don't know. I mean, you've got Mastantuono now in there. You've got Arda Güler who's thrown their hat in the ring. So I think for Jude Bellingham, he may have to accept that unless he's bang in form, I don't know about you, Stevie, but I don't know if he's a shoe-in week in, week out.
If I'm coaching Real Madrid, look, there's no question Alonso made a mistake playing him against Real Madrid.
Atleti.
After he had 20 minutes of football.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous decision.
Yes.
And I was absolutely shocked. But we're talking about a guy who can transform a game on his own, who can get that goal.
Yeah, but he wasn't doing that.
But I know he wasn't.
He did it in his first year, not in his second.
But I would suggest that the way to get him doing it is not by having him sat on his backside. I think Bellingham, to me, is in a position where he's got money in the bank. I think he's got money in the bank. If Jude Bellingham plays the next 4 games, let's say, and performs the way he's done the last 6 months, then I think you can start asking questions of, well, you know, should you start him? But right now...
I agree with that.
Right now, he has to get in the team, get 100% fit, and then, if things are not working out, then you have to make a decision. But if I'm coaching Real Madrid, I'm absolutely 100% starting Jude Bellingham.
Oh, I agree with that. I'm not saying next time Real Madrid plays not playing. What I'm saying is that if his form continues to sort of flatline, he's not a shoe-in. Yeah. Stevie said, if it's 4 or 5 games, there are others that will come in, and Xabi Alonso's already shown that he'll pretty much drop anybody apart from Kylian Mbappe. You know, he will, and he'll have to if he wants to save his bacon. But if Jude Bellingham gets himself match fit again and starts being this goal threat and all the things that we know he can be, it's not a problem. But if he's kind of the player that we've seen over the last, before the injury, and certainly for the bulk of last year, I think he could find him. You know, it's not like he's going to walk in chest puffed out going, there's no way you can drop me. His form hasn't been good enough pre-shoulder surgery to suggest that he's undroppable.
Frank, what do you make of what the boys are saying about Jude?
Well, I agree with the guy. I just say that he plays for the biggest club in the world, maybe, and nobody can be insured to be played week in, week out, and to be picked by the coach any time, not even depending on the way you are playing your games. And it's true that Jude Bellingham hasn't been Jude Bellingham for more than 6 months, on top of having his injury. So it shouldn't be a problem for the coach to say, well, you know what, Arda Güler is better right now, so I'm going to play Arda Güler. If I need Arda Güler in the middle of the park and put Rodrigo on the right side, I shouldn't have any problem. You play for Real Madrid, but I pick. I decide. I always say that. I say that I was last year a little bit disappointed by Carlo Ancelotti because he didn't make those decisions. And Xabi Alonso showed to Vinicius Junior that he was capable of doing that. So he's going to be capable of doing that to Jude Bellingham. And I think to Kylian Mbappe if Kylian is not fit and is not good. So that's a good thing. That's a good sign if when you move forward. And it's not because you are Jude Bellingham that should be insured like anybody else, but ready to play. We saw Valverde as well on the bench. So it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be even wondering. It's up to Jude to do the job because we know that if he plays like he used to play the first year that he played for Real Madrid, nobody can be at his position. That's for sure. He's the best player in the world in that position when he's 100% fit.
You know, the thing is, for Xabi Alonso, what he does know, like, if we're talking about Jude Bellingham getting dropped, then Jude Bellingham's dad will be on the bat phone. He'll be on the bat phone to Xabi Alonso. Because we know he's a bit of
He'll go to the dressing room, as we know.
That was ridiculous. But yeah, look, Real Madrid don't have another player of his like. They've got tricky little Guller and Mastertuano and all these, but they don't have a player with his physical power and running abilities and getting on the end of stuff. He's just going to somehow get back to that. The decision, whoever it was, to not have him have the shoulder surgery at the end of the season because of that stupid Club World Cup, where he would have had the surgery, the rehab, and the pre-season ready to go because he wasn't in great form.
Yeah.
And you've got to give him the best chance. Just a ridiculous decision.
All right, well, Xabi Alonso has some things to think about. Thankfully, he has this international break, but when he's back, Real Madrid will be in action on Sunday against Getafe. That game will be on ESPN, as well as Barcelona, who played the day before, that Saturday, the 18th, and that's against Girona. Oh, tripping over my words there. I know.
The defender who is coming round is going to get the ball.
Right.
But more importantly, don't do it. Why are you doing it? Why are you putting your arm across somebody and looking at him while you're doing it, while the ball's over there?
Can you allow me to clothesline you?
I think that's called a foul.
Put your chin down. Allow me to clothesline you. How many times do you see a defender?
All right, a clothesline was a bit of exaggeration, but you've clearly had no attempt with the ball, and you're trying to stop your opponent, and you put your hands on him.
I think I know where
foul. It's a yellow.
I think I know where Frank stands. But before we go to him, don't you see 99 times out of 100 when any player runs down the wing or past a player puts his hand out?
We are talking about the fact that he deserves or not a yellow card. You can say it's a foul. Let's say it's a foul because he puts his hand. But now he puts his hand on his chest. Have you seen Vinicius Junior what he does? And he goes down and touch his head. He touches his head, okay? Because you know what happens in Vinicius Junior's eyes? He sees the other defender getting the ball before him. So he says, ooh, he touched me, I'm going to go on the floor. I'm sorry, Alexis, Stevie, Craig, if I touch you like that, I'm pretty sure you're not going to fall.
Absolutely
not. You're not going to fall in any ways. So,
yeah, but it was a clothesline.
Of course.
As Stevie said, it was a clothesline.
But all right, I exaggerated slightly.
So
Forget
you and Vinny.
I want to say that.
Frank, I get what you're saying about him diving and holding his face and this and that. But why don't we just stick to the facts? The facts are he made no attempt to go for the ball.
The ball wasn't
straight away, the ball's gone, and he's made no attempt, and he's not interested in the ball. And he was actually never interested in the ball. The only thing he wanted to do was impede Vinny.
You're allowed to put your arm across a player. You're allowed to do that. We see it all the time.
Not when you're clearly going to outrun the guy. You're not allowed to do that.
Well, Vinicius Junior would have still outrun him if he hadn't thrown himself to the ground because he saw the player, as Frank said, coming in to clean up the situation.
You're throwing all these little flowery things in instead of sticking to the. Let's stick to the nuts and bolts.
I think to please
Stevie,
we can give a free kick
and went for the player.
We cannot give a yellow card, a second yellow card for that. Are you kidding me or what? It's a second yellow card. It's just a hand. Come on, I agree for the foul if you want.
No,
no, you are waiting.
I don't think it's a foul. I think Vinicius. I don't. You see 100 times when you see when have you ever seen a player running down the wing, past a fullback or a centre half, and he doesn't even put an arm across?
Yeah, it's a reflex.
Well, there's a difference between running together and your arms doing that than being actually a little bit of a distance away. There's a gap between them, and you throw your arm out like that. But there's a lot of difference.
It's gone soft.
But for a second yellow, I think it's a bit harsh.
I'm so disappointed.
with Stevie.
Steve,
I
I'm
know.
disappointed.
I
You're
know.
soft.
The game's
You're
gone.
soft now.
Well,
The
can
game's
you
gone.
imagine? Can you?
All right, let's
can
look
you,
at the
no,
next.
1 second. Put that computer down. Can you imagine him? Stop scrolling through that. Can you imagine him in the modern day? He'd be chucking himself all over the
Oh, for
place.
sure.
Oh my
For
God.
sure.
Die.
Oh my God.
He's been studying at the Ale Moreno School of Diving. I didn't want to say
Ali
it.
would have been down
Yeah.
before the
Yeah.
arm even.
From this hand was halfway up, Ale would have gone down holding his face. All right.